Welcome back, everybody. We have a wonderful guest joining us here this morning, Mackenzie Ryan with M. Ryan Media, and longtime journalist who has just now branched out on your own to help businesses tell their story. Because, and I know we're seeing a lot of that in marketing and promotional news and so forth, the importance of stories and how they tie in with our brand. But first, let's just have you share with everybody kind of how you got into this. You know, of course, a journalist, you know, always telling great stories, but kind of then evolving into the helping businesses with that.
Absolutely. I was with the Des Moines Register for 5 years and with Gannett for 15 around the country. And my heart was really with businesses. My father was a business owner, and I saw him struggle to tell his own story in an era where there wasn't an opportunity to tell it online. And so I want to partner with businesses to help them own their story and tell it well so they can speak directly to customers and their clients.
Why do you think it's hard for businesses to tell their story?
It's really,
or that's not at the forefront of what they're thinking when it comes to business?
There's so much just distractions and things going on, and as a business owner you are just working hard to work with your employees and your clients and your customers. And so I really come alongside and say, okay, let's take some time and say what is unique about this business and how can we share that story well so you can actually meet your goals and grow.
Do you find that every business has that story to tell?
Absolutely. Everyone has a unique story, and it's really about putting it into practice. So does that mean featuring client testimonials? Is it the stories of your employees or these unique family, if you're a family-owned business, these personalities that really make your story tick? Or maybe it's the tactile things that you make or the process that you share.
And you have some interesting statistics regarding, you know, how many, you know, customers that they prefer engaging with that story and so forth. Talk about the importance, because it's not just, we'd mentioned earlier, just price and selection and so forth. That isn't what, you know, necessarily sets a business apart anymore.
In today's world, research shows that it's not enough to compete on price or quality or service anymore. Up to 80% of customers want to engage with an authentic story. This is a story that has a value or a purpose or a brand that they want to stand behind.
And so what are some of the ways that you, when you're working with a business, that you kind of get them to tap into that? What are some of your methods for that?
It's really about taking a moment and saying, okay, where did we start as a business? What is the founding story? It's sometimes called the napkin story because you etched it down on a piece of paper and a napkin. And then really taking how did it evolve and where do we want to go? What's the vision of our company and how can we invite customers in so that they are part of that vision?
So then how do we utilize that story? Let's say we do have a great story, like my idea of how I came up with this particular product is very unique. How am I then using that to my benefit?
It's really about sharing it in all of the platforms that are available for you. So you can share it in person as you speak the story. You can share it online through social media, on your website, through videos. There's so many different ways to share that story, from public speaking events to conversation. And
you've seen, because you were a big part of the Des Moines Storytellers Project, which I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with. So you've seen just the impact also on an individual level of how storytelling can affect us personally as well as in our businesses.
Our brains are wired for story. There's all of this research out there that's how we learn and how we grow. And so if you are a parent or if you're volunteering and you share a story, people are more likely to remember that story and take that lessons learned.
Are there any resources that you'd recommend for businesses? Obviously, you're a great connection, but if there is a business or an individual listening to this and saying, I hear what you're saying, but I don't know how to get started, because I'm not a journalist. I'm not someone that's in front of the camera and used to talking on a regular basis, a little more of an introvert. What are some resources they can use to get that story out?
Well, I would love to share a 3-step process that is proven that anyone can start sharing a story, especially effective for businesses who want to encourage and empower their employees, because you're more profitable if you have highly engaged employees. So it's 3 steps. So you define your vision and your value. And so let's say you value people as a business. An employee stopped by the side of the road and they rendered aid. So that's first, what happened? My employee rendered aid to someone. Second, I'm proud of them. And third, this is a value that we hold because we value people. So if you share that 3-step story in like a staff meeting or to other customers or people like that, you're able to empower people that this is what we stand for as a business.
So you break it down as to what happened, a reaction to that, and then the lesson learned from having that reaction.
Absolutely.
And then you also made a great point when we talked earlier just about how you can use that in your family life and when you're talking to your kids about trying to, you know, make emphasis on something.
Absolutely. If you think about how we learn, if you say, hey, do this or do that, you know, it's hard to remember. Kids get distracted nowadays. But what if you shared a story of your own childhood or why we're doing what we're doing? There's just more connection and there's more empowerment in that.
Do you talk about some of the, maybe the clients that you've worked with or just the individuals that you've kind of seen, and share that example of how it has made a difference?
It really opens up so many possibilities. So I worked with a financial coaching company, and they were struggling to get their message out and compete with other financial coaching companies. And so we looked at, there's usually 3 different types of problems that a business is solving. There's this internal, I'm stressed about finances. There's this external, I don't know how to get started with a budget or know what to do. But really there's this philosophical problem of finances, if you know, money fights and money problems can lead to divorce. So what if their story was, we empower families and couples and help build relationships back? And so that's really the story that they're telling, is that, hey, we care about your relationship and we're going to help you improve your finances so you can have a stronger relationship.
And then that'll eventually set them apart from others who are essentially in the same business, but they're doing it differently because of their vision and their story that they're telling.
And wouldn't you rather participate with a business instead of just saying, hey, we're going to save you money, to say, hey, we value you and your relationship and we want you to succeed?
Absolutely.
Nice. Yes. And then you also talked about your dad's story a little bit. Just kind of expand on that a little further in regards to how that story made a difference with his own business.
And this is really close to my heart. So my father was a car dealer up in Minnesota, really innovative. So he was among the first to sell cars online. He was among the first to employ female sales associates and general managers. And he was among the first to go to one pricing, so away from negotiations, to better serve single moms and widows who are coming in. And he really built his business on loyal and repeat customers. And then one day, an artist purchased a used van and it had bad brakes. And instead of getting it fixed or calling the dealership, she painted lemons on this car and she drove around town to get attention. And it was this viral moment before viral moments were a thing. And so he was not able to tell his story, that overarching story of years of experience and loyalty, in a full way. And today, there's even more risk of those sort of viral moments that don't reflect your true story to go live. But at the same time, there's more opportunity than ever. And there's really no excuse for businesses not to be telling your story and the values that you stand for before a crisis hits like that.
Because just those stories then can kind of be kind of protective on some level, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you want to get ahead of your story and you want to help define what that story is for your business. And just think about it, it's good for business because your customers are thinking of you and they're saying, he's the car dealer that loves people and values women and is empowering people, instead of this false narrative that he didn't.
It also sounds like once you have that story, use every resource you know of to make sure that story gets out there.
We live in a more distracted world than ever, and so if you just think about your own life and just how hard it is even to respond to an email sometimes, I mean, businesses, it's their responsibility to share their story and help make that connection that builds a relationship with that customer.
So talk about the ways that you work with business, and because you're a great resource as well in regards to helping people kind of pull out those stories and different ways to utilize them. So talk about kind of your website and different places that people can go to get more information.
Absolutely. So you can go to my website at mryanmedia.co, and I am a marketing consultant, so I'll come and connect with you one-on-one. We'll talk about your business goals, what your struggles might be, and then I'll put together a customized plan that we can actually further what you want to accomplish. And the thing is, as a former journalist, I've never told the same story twice in 15 years in 5 different states. There is no reason that your story should be the same or should not feel authentic to you, and that's really the goals that we're trying to meet.
Right. And as a closing, just the importance of storytelling overall.
Just everyone has a story, and the story is the building block for the conversation, which is the building block for the relationship. And so wherever you're at, if you're a parent, if you're a volunteer, if you're a leader, just start telling stories to empower and just root out those values that you have.
Yeah. And have better conversations.
Sounds great. Be known is what we're encouraging you all to do today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Through stories. Thank you.